Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Somewhat Damaged. I'm your host, Greg Alperin. With me, as always, John B. This week, we welcome back to the show a pal, a guy who spent 11 days in the White House, Anthony Scaramucci. Buckle up. This one's gonna be fun.
Unhinged.
Hey.
Oh shit! Holy shit! It's Scaramucci! This is so awesome.
Well, you're very dressed up. We are
This is so sick.
we are very underdressed.
No, I got a real job. I'm not a billionaire like you.
Oh my god!
How you doing, man? Been a while.
I'm doing great. You look great. Everything good?
Everything is good. We're just living the dream over here.
I like the atmospherics.
I like your
You look well.
I like your Superman poster.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to throw some. I mean, I got this boring office, and I had to throw something up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you got-
That's not Superman. That's Muhammad Ali, isn't it?
Yeah, the Superman's on the other side. See?
Yeah.
See? Let me just change this thing. Look at that. Can you see it now?
Look at that. Ooh.
Are you a comic?
fancy.
Are you just like Superman, or you're a comic?
I like Superman. I'm a big Superman guy.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I got some stuff for you then.
Well, here's the thing. I mean,
Are
listen.
you a Superman guy?
They just
no,
put it out though about that Superman is bisexual now. That's awesome.
well,
I
not
love that.
Superman. Not
I mean,
Super-
look, I don't care. I mean, do you care about people's sexuality? I could care less. You know, who
I
cares?
could care less as well. I think it's
I
a
just
great
think if you don't be
opportunity.
in the closet, that's my thing. You know, if you're gay, get out of the closet, enjoy your life. You know what I mean? Who gives a
Sure.
shit?
It's tough for some people to get ripped out.
I
of the
got it.
closet,
Particularly people that are my era. You're born in the 1960s. It's hard for people. You know what I mean? But by 2000, people should get relaxed. You know.
Yeah.
My-
I mean, as somebody who's still closeted to my parents, yeah, it's still tough because they're from that era. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
Oh,
I'm
so
out in
you're-
my industry.
You're out of the closet to your friends, but not your parents.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, but
Correct, yeah.
how? But I mean, you know, your mother probably knows anyway, though. No, don't you
I
think?
don't know. She like recently, it's been like she was asking me like all this. She's like, she was asking, she's like, oh, I saw your credit card statement. Like, who are you going out to dinner with all these? I was like, friends.
Yeah.
And I kind of, I don't know if she knows, but like, you know, I come from a Catholic family, Filipino, you know, I'm second generation here. So it's, there's that fear, obviously. You know what I mean?
She knows. Just get out of the. You want a great book? I'll give you. Go buy yourself The Velvet Rage. One of my friends wrote that book about living in the closet and the trepidations and the fear. Your mother loves you. Tell her the truth. You know, you got raised Catholic, so you probably have anxiety about it. Just tell her
Oh
the
my
truth.
God. Yeah, it's worse than Jewish guilt.
Right. No, I got it.
This is cool.
know.
I'm so excited to be talking to you.
I'm
Mr. Scaramucci.
I'm thrilled to be on. You got to call me Anthony.
Anthony,
And
yes, Anthony.
my chief of staff is gay. My nephew is gay, and I'm very proud to tell you that with my help, I got them forward on it, and they're living great lives. You know
So
what I
they
mean?
looking? I mean, what's the deal? What they look like? I mean,
Are
you
they
gotta be-
good looking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on. I mean, that's yeah.
Hold on.
Bring your chief of staff in. Come on.
John, pull it away from your mouth a little bit.
Joe,
Got
come
it.
in here for a second. This guy's still in the closet. I want to.
Well, what that also means is John's parents don't listen to the show.
No, they do not.
It's okay. My mom doesn't either. My mom doesn't even know my phone number.
All right. So meet Joe. See, Joe, when did you come out of the closet, Joe?
Wow, 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Mm.
So look at that. He's had
I
great.
mean, yeah. Hey, what's
he's had
up?
a great. He's had a great 12 years. Okay.
Then,
Am I right?
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what do you don't want to live in a fucking closet? Come out of the fucking closet. Enjoy yourself. Okay.
Do it.
Right.
It's more fun over here.
100%.
Fine. God, sure, Anthony.
All right. I'm
Jeez.
just trying to give you some fucking thoughtful, loving
get
advice.
it.
Okay?
I mean, I
get
can't
it.
tell you
get
that John's not lacking the fun. That much I could tell you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you
He's
can
not the
catch me
prime
every
of the
Friday,
show.
Saturday in Hell's Kitchen. Don't get me wrong. I'll be out there fucking having a blast.
Anyway, so how have you spent the last, I don't know, 13 months?
Well, I got my ass kicked in March of 2020. And so I dropped 25% of the value in my fund. So that's taking you back 19 months, and it
Right.
was obliterating. And then you had the stress and anxiety of living in the pandemic. And now I'm trying to operate the business from my basement over Zoom and cell phone calls, and I had to shut my office. And then, there was a crisis of communication with some of my vendors. And so I got fired by like a few of the wirehouses because our performance stunk. But it was frankly a technical glitch. It
Right.
was a technical overselling and panic, and the stuff was very cheap and it was going to come back if people were patient. So from that day, 19 months later, we're up about 52%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're up 23% this year. And I think there's learning lessons in that. People that are investors, you got to stay long-term. Everybody's a long-term investor, guys, until they have short-term losses.
Totally.
When they have short-term losses, they set the hair on fire, they run around in a circle, and they drive each other crazy. And you don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
What do you think of like the Robin Hoods and all, the couple others and the Coinbases that in the last year have exploded with all, these day trader kind of novice investors? Like, are you of the school that those people ultimately are the ones going to get hurt unless they're really smart?
I'm in the Kathy Wood school, ARK Asset Management. Yep. I accept that there's some gamification of trading, but I actually think these people are way more sophisticated than they give them credit for. Now, having said that, some of them will get burned. Some of them will hurt themselves.
Sure.
And you don't need to hear this story, but I'll share it with you anyway. I am Mr. Know-It-All. Okay, you see me? Let me just give you my profile. See? I'm Mr. Know-It-All. Okay, and I want to set the scene for you. It's 1991. I'm 27, and I have no biochemistry degree, but I am a biotechnology expert. Okay, and so I'm buying call options on a company called Centocor. They're going to cure sepsis, and they're going from FDA phase 1 to phase 2. And I got the call options. I think they're going to get to phase 2 because I'm a genius.
Sure.
So you know what happens? They go to phase 2. And I turn my $20,000 into $120,000. Okay. And now I'm a genius. I know everything that there is to know about biotech. So I double down and I roll from phase 2 into phase 3. I even fly myself down to the FDA to hear the meeting.
Wow.
And I'm long the call options. And what do you think happens, guys? They don't get to phase 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And overnight, my position goes to zero, and I get a margin call from Goldman Sachs. They say, well, because of the way the options were sequenced and the leverage you were using, you owe us $50,000. And I didn't have the $50,000. And so I desperately burnt myself.
Right.
And I repaired myself. I got the money. I paid off the margin loan. And it was a better learning experience than going to Harvard or Tufts University or my uncle's motorcycle shop. And I tell you this story because I am 30 years out from that story, recognizing how humbling this is and recognizing how cautious you need to be with your own money and with your clients' money. But if you saw Mr. Know-It-All in 1991, okay, I was absolutely dead certain with overwhelming conviction.
Yeah.
And so to me, if some people go through that process on Robinhood, I think it might be beneficial to them. I don't want people to get hurt, of course, but I think that there's nothing more clarifying than learning on your own money.
There was some fun. I mean, listen, during the pandemic, the whole idea of, the Dogecoin as well as things like, AMC. In June, that was able to pay, like I put a couple of $100 in that and kind of wrote it out and then pulled it away. And that made some decent money for me. It was better than going down to Atlantic City, I'll tell you that much, and losing my shirt at the Borgata.
Yeah, listen, I'm sure. And, I think Dogecoin, where did it peak? At like $1? Or I didn't
even go to $1. Didn't even go to $1. That was the anticipation.
I have a position in something called Algorand, ALGO.
Yep. Sure.
Algorand, I think, has great technical properties, long-term sustainability. It is 1/3 the market capitalization of Dogecoin. No billionaire is tweeting about it. Mark Cuban and Elon Musk, no one's accepting it right now in terms of buying merchandise in the NBA or anything like that. But I do think that platforms will be successfully run on Dogecoin. I mean on Algorand. I don't know if that's going to happen for Dogecoin. I'm just not as familiar with it. My
He had
colleagues
a cute
here.
puppy on there. That's the only reason I kind of went.
No,
for
I got it. And there are colleagues here that
adorable.
like Solana. I don't know.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
I got $1 billion in Bitcoin right now at current prices. And I'm hoping that we've got this right. I'm hoping that the secular trend that we see is something that's going to be part of our future.
One of my old bosses, his name was James Altucher. He predicted that Bitcoin would be going to one Bitcoin would be 1 million. Do you think that's possible?
Well, I know James very well. I want him to be right on Bitcoin, and I want him to be very wrong on New York City. Because you and I both know he wrote an article that New York City was dead.
Who said that?
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld responded to that and said that we're doing just fine, thank you. And I hope.
Jerry wrote that from the Hamptons. That's
right.
That's right. Yes, he wrote from the Hamptons.
But trust me, he's got a beautiful apartment here in the city.
The one on the Upper West Side that houses all of his cars that I walk by. Yeah, beautiful.
Exactly. There you go. Now you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, no. I have beef with Jerry myself as a comedy club owner.
All right, but here's the thing I would say to you. You must know Mazzelli. Then do you know Mazzelli?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's a buddy of mine from Long Island. Look, here's what I would say to you. I can't predict the future. I'm hoping people like James can predict the future, but the future is digital. The future is, if we've improved our phone communications, our ability to communicate with each other over Zoom. I was telling somebody this morning in 1985, when I was 21 years old, I was waiting online in Italy, in Rome, for a phone booth at the post office. And then what would happen is you go into the phone booth and you wait for an AT&T operator, and then they tell you, okay, we're going to charge you $3 a minute. We're going to connect you to your mother. You ready? I said, yes. And they put the timer on and you hear a beep every 30 seconds. Then the phone goes dead because you gave them the money, at the cashier at the post office. And today you can just go to the Starbucks or the cafe, you log into the internet and you can call your mother for no money. I think that's going to happen to the financial services industry in our lifetime. That 3% spread that American Express and Visa has, their technical properties now, they're going to allow us to do that at no charge, the same way we can do this at no charge, but this was an impossibility in 1985. So I think James is going to be right. That's real estate. That's digital real estate. That's irreplaceable waterfront property. And I want James to be right because I'm long a lot of that waterfront property. And so I hope he will be.
John, what John was going to say something, but he didn't.
Go ahead. What are you going to say, Joe? Say it.
No. I see him thinking. I
didn't say anything. I was just excited. I'm excited to be with you, Anthony. I just want to show something real quick. If you guys can see this, this is you and me a couple of years ago. We were at Rabbi Shmuley's house a couple of years ago. That whole thing, yeah. But I remember,
I told him what an asshole Steve Bannon was. You remember Rabbi Shmuley defending him?
When he even said that picture under them.
Right. God. Remember I said that this guy is one of the lunatic antichrists of our time. My singular achievement on planet Earth thus far, despite the luck of having my children, was getting Steve Bannon out of that White House. Because when my suicide vest was going off, I reached for that son of a bitch and blew him out the fucking front door. But I remember the Rabbi Shmuley conversation. I like Rabbi Shmuley. He's a nice man, but he was very misguided on people like Steve, and Steve's an anti-Semite on top of everything else. And I just think that's one of the more funny things about his relationship with somebody like the rabbi.
What do you think's going to happen now with him? You think that he's going to testify, be forced to, or it winds up getting dropped because they don't want to go down the political road?
He's definitely got the goods on Donald Trump. Definitely. There's something there, maybe related to the Russians or something like that. You don't get a pardon from Donald Trump unless he thinks someone's got the gun to shoot Donald Trump. So absolutely. Roger Stone got the pardon. Steve Bannon got the pardon. Other people did not get pardons. Paul Manafort got a pardon. You see what I mean?
Sure.
And so Steve is a cocky guy. He thinks that he can avoid this subpoena. They're going to hold him in contempt. Remember, he could have gone and just said, I plead the fifth every 5 seconds.
Absolutely.
The only thing that would have gotten admitted into evidence are the documents. They get admitted into evidence anyway. You have limited Fifth Amendment rights related to your documents, in the discovery of them. So I think he's made, a mistake here. But then again, it's Steve Bannon. He's got a card up his sleeve. When Steve Bannon was arrested in the summer of 2020 on the yacht in the middle of Long Island Sound for absconding money from people to build his quote unquote wall, and he should have gone dead to rights to jail, and Trump pardoned him. I think Steve's got things up his sleeve. I would never underestimate the diabolical, cunning nature of Steve Bannon. Should he be in jail? Yes. Do I want him in jail? I do. Not that I wish anybody poorly, but I want to save our society, and people like Steve Bannon are a scourge on our society, and they need to be handled.
What do you think he's got and other people have? I don't know, but it's not fear, right? But like, why are they so intimidated by Donald Trump at this point? That
I don't think Steve's intimidated by Donald Trump. Steve sees himself as a hand and Donald Trump as his hand puppet.
Right.
Steve, in the book Maestro, he fed all that bullshit to the Bloomberg guy. He was trying to let the Bloomberg guy know that it's not Donald Trump, it's me. I'm the Svengali,
right?
Which is basically a bunch of nonsense. Trump carried everybody, myself included, over the finish line in 2016. And there was one person that beat Donald Trump in 2020. And you guys know who that is. Donald Trump.
Sure.
You know what a dick bruise is? Let me tell you what a dick bruise is. You take the gun out and you're trying to blow off your fucking left foot and you hit the tip of your dick every fucking day. The gun comes out, you shoot the fucking gun, hits your dick, and then blows off your foot. Okay. And Trump did that every day of 2020. There wasn't a day that went by where he didn't bruise his dick, shooting his dick every day. And so miraculously, he lost the election by a mere 40,000 votes.
Right.
He should have won that election. And by the way, if the Democrats aren't careful, he's going to win again. They got to get careful. They got to get more vigilant.
Right. So where do you stand in all this, right? Because you were obviously a lifelong Republican, and then all this shit happened.
I'm a garden variety Republican. I'm an Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney Republican.
Right.
I am a New Yorker, so I'm agnostic about people's lives. Okay. I want John to go live a great life. I want people. I laugh at these conservative Republicans. So let me get this straight. You want a smaller government everywhere but my bedroom. You want a larger government in my bedroom. What are you guys doing? It's a bunch of nonsense. Okay. So I want to end the hypocrisy and I want people to live free. I think it's, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I don't think that's just for straight people.
Totally.
Okay, I think that's for everybody. And so I believe in diversity. Italians weren't treated well when they came into the country. But we were given a shot. Franklin Roosevelt's cousin, Teddy Roosevelt, he said that we were to be treated as non-Caucasian for immigration purposes. In 1904, he passed legislation to say that.
Yep.
That's fine. I get it. I'm not a whiner or a complainer. I just want a shot. I want an opportunity. I want Black and brown people, Asians, you pick the color, sex orientation, the religion. I want everybody to get a fair meritocratic shot. And I think the Republicans are losing their way if they haven't lost their way. They've decided if you're white, we'd like you to vote. If you're not white, we don't want you to vote because Black and brown people are now making up a majority of the demography, and we're going to have Black and brown people running the government, and we don't want that. So we're going to figure out ways to prevent you from voting. And so I'll tell you what I do want, though. Can I show you something? I'll tell you what I do want. I want Stacey Abrams to run the Mets. See? Because Stacey Abrams, she's a stud. Okay. She's a total boss. Okay. Stacey Abrams got nailed by Brian Kemp and the white supremacists. She probably won the election, but the way they counted the votes and all the shenanigans,
Right.
And so she said, okay, I got it. Black people got to wait online for 2 days to vote. I got it. And so she did a number on those guys. They weren't ready for Stacey and her organizational skills. And she beat Donald Trump in Georgia. She knocked out the 2 senators in Georgia. And so that's why they had to go out and sign all of that voter suppression legislation, which sent the All-Star game to Colorado, because the All-Star game, Coca-Cola, they can't tolerate that. They've got black and brown people on their boards, and they've got black and brown people running around the baseball diamond. What are you going to do? You're going to tell those people, well, we're siding with the white supremacists, So, well, look at me, Stacey. If you listen to these guys, if you listen right here, Stacey, we need help.
We'll make sure we get her the note. We'll make sure.
Yeah. John and Greg, please call Stacey Abrams. We need her to run the Mets. We'll win the World Series.
You're listening to another episode of the Somewhat Damaged podcast, part of the Storic Media Podcast Network, and brought to you by Corona Premier, now available on draft.
Anthony, how do you feel about those that want to seek public service now, though? I mean, it's a very, listen, we've pulled back the curtain of hundreds of years of kind of politics now. What are your thoughts to somebody like, for example, Greg right next to me is running for town council, and we're so excited for him. But like, what would you give him as an advice to kind of to be his platform as to why he's running?
So it's a full-time job, town council, or you can
no.
Well, yeah. So it's a little bit of a different job, sort of a hybrid job. He's a volunteering probably, and he's probably overseeing, laws in the town.
Yeah.
And, Greg's a straight up decent human being. And Greg is, well, let me put it this way. He's authentic. He might be nuts. He might be nuts, but at least
he's somewhat damaged.
He might be nuts and damaged, but you can see him coming a mile away. That was my problem in Washington, right? I did that press conference that day. There was probably 50 million people watching. I got off the podium and my phone rang, and I'm not going to tell you who it was, but it's a name you'd recognize. And the guy said to me, "That was a disaster." And I said, "What are you talking about? I thought it went pretty well." He goes, "Oh, no, come on. Are you crazy? You can't talk like that in Washington. You can't tell people the truth of what's going on." I've got congressmen calling me. He was an Oppo research for the Republicans. They were like, "Okay, what do we got on this guy? We got to knock him out of that seat." And so, Greg is going to be ahead of his time, because I predict what happens is authenticity will be back in vogue, and problem solving and pragmatism will be back in vogue, and the polemics that we're witnessing right now will burn themselves out. I don't see this going forever. It's too exhausting, and there's too big of an entrepreneurial opportunity as a politician to come in and break the current logjam of nonsense, and so that's what I'm hoping, and we'll see. But my recommendation to Greg is just be himself, and when he gets the job, don't focus on ideology, focus on practicality. What is the right thing to do? Not the left or right thing to do. Let's measure these things by right or wrong, as opposed to left and right, and do the right thing. And that's it. And if you do that, even if you lose the election, who cares?
Scaramucci is stumping for you right now. How awesome is that? I love it.
I do want to say this is my 4th time running, and so far my 3 times I've come in dead last.
Okay.
Second to last. Last time I came in 2 from, because you win, like there's multiple people run and win in a district. I lost by 2 people. So now I think I actually have a solid chance to win, because in the last 15 months, the district that I'm in has had a significant changeover and swing from R to D.
Are you guys blue lining? Are you blue lining over there?
What is blue lining? What does that mean?
We're red lining. It's gerrymandering the other way around.
I see. I see. Yeah.
No, what I mean is the influx of people that have moved into my district from the city and basically Manhattan, and then the people that in my district have moved to like Florida and Texas, it's just flip-flopped the voting register. So it just increased my chances of winning just based on that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Here's what I applaud you for. You've run a couple of times, you've lost a couple of times, and you're staying in the game. And I love that. I think that's exactly where we have to be. You know what I mean? I absolutely love that.
So not to bring it down, but did you, like, after, the election in November, did you see coming what ultimately came in January? Like, did you anticipate that from
I
having some insight?
anticipated alongside of Michael Cohen and others that Trump was not going to go quietly into the night.
Right.
I anticipated that he was going to do disruptive things. I didn't see the magnitude of that coming. I also didn't understand the apathy associated with that. I didn't see this guy Kevin McCarthy, who should change his name to Joe McCarthy.
Sure.
I mean the guy's a complete jackass. And I knew Kevin, and I raised money for Kevin, and I've had lunch with Kevin, and Kevin has spoken at my events, and I am astonished at Kevin McCarthy. Okay, because a real leader would have been doing what Liz Cheney did. Said, okay, this is unconscionable, and these people need to be prosecuted. And you had an election that was fair and square, and you lost the election. So let's stop the nonsense. Okay. And so, I was surprised by it, but, it happened. I didn't think it was going to be to the extent that it happened. I thought Trump was going to give people a hard time. I knew Trump was never going to concede. I knew Trump was never going to help Joe Biden. Trump doesn't care about anybody but Trump. And so, there's a vulnerability between election day and January 20th, and you have to help the other team get ready. Bush's team in 2001, they weren't ready because they were fighting it out with Al Gore, and they probably missed several intelligence briefings. And then lo and behold, we get 9/11.
Yep.
We've just had a 20-year war that wasted trillions of unnecessary dollars. So to me, that's Donald Trump. He don't care about you. He don't care about me. He cares about him. And that's it. He's an asymmetrical guy. And I'll just say this to you. I'm out of politics right now. I mean, I'm back at CNBC. I'm focused on my business. I'm raising money for my funds. I'm developing conferences. I'm on your show. But I will say this. Okay, he runs again. I'm getting right back in there.
Right. I mean, I think you definitely.
I'll be in there slugging it out, because he is a systemic danger to our democracy. He's an awful human being. The guy that fired me, General Kelly, who's a great American, I've become best friends with him. And I'll say this to you guys: the only people that spoke up were not affiliated with Trump, meaning they had their own wealth or they had their own careers. The ass kissers from Goldman Sachs, like Mnuchin and Gary Cohen, they didn't tell the truth.
Sure.
But everybody else did. If you were tied to Trump politically, or you were making money off of Trump, of course you didn't. But if you weren't, like me, Mattis, Kelly, Tillerson, we all did that. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, man, certainly, the country and people who pay attention definitely owe you and those guys like a tremendous, thank you, because without guys like you really speaking up and, speaking your mind and telling the truth to the people that are willing to listen to it, things could have been real different. You definitely put yourself out there a lot, election time.
I agree with you. I mean, I have to
really,
mention,
bring stuff out and just kind of speak your mind. And that's super admirable and risky. You get putting yourself, family, everything on the line.
Cost me money. People, cost me, I get death threats. You lose half the country. Right. I was at an event this morning and someone said, well, you're still on our side, right? The guy's watching Fox News like this and he's unvaxxed and he's, I said, am I on your side? I'm on America's side. I don't know if I'm on your side.
Right.
I'm on America's side. I'm not going to split America. The first name of America is United. I don't hear this first name being disunited.
Yeah.
I don't hear the white only states of America or the straight only states of America. I don't hear that. I hear the United States of America.
When you kind of flipped a little bit, not flip, but when you after you kind of came, I guess, out and were like, this guy's fucking crazy. There was a lot of me that was really excited to see somebody like you of your stature to do that. And I was excited. And, I am, I think I've said this on the podcast that I'm a Republican as well. But I wasn't a Trump person. I have to agree with you. I am, I love Liz Cheney. I was a big John Kasich fan as well. So seeing you kind of like break away from that, it kind of gave me hope. I do want to ask you a little bit. I romanticize Washington still. All right. I watch The West Wing. I watch, things like Madam Secretary and shit like that. Was there a feeling when you were in that West Wing in that White House of the history and the mark that you were making? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, be more specific. What do you mean,
just
John?
to walk the halls of it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there has to be this feeling of like amazement that like, wow.
I'll tell you something that actually humanizes Trump. Okay. As much as I dislike him, he is a human being. And my first day was July 21st, 2017. And after he kicked Bannon and Priebus out of the Oval Office and told them that he knew that they were the leakers, and he wanted me to report directly to him because he didn't want Priebus's filth on me. You probably heard some of that at the Rabbi Shmuley event. Trump looked over at me. I looked over at Trump. I looked at him. I looked up at the ceiling. And on the ceiling, fellas, there's a plaster of Paris of the presidential seal on the ceiling. I looked up at it and I said, Mr. President, I said, we're sitting here in the Oval Office. You're behind the Resolute desk. I said, my heart's going pitter-patter a little bit. Is your heart going pitter-patter or has it gone pitter-patter? And he was very honest, and I respect that in him. He said to me, yes. He said, when I first got behind the desk on the first day, I was like, oh my God, I'm the president of the United States. And he was getting his footing. And then somebody called him from the protocol area and they said, Mr. President, the North Portico, you're in about 10 minutes, sir, you're going to be greeting the Prime Minister of England, Theresa May. And he put the phone down. He's like, okay, I'm actually the president of the United States. I got to go greet the Prime Minister. And he got up and he walked out, right? And what he said to me, and this is human, right? This is human because we're all human. He said, I was nervous. He said, and I know you're nervous, Anthony, but let me tell you what's going to happen. There's so much work to do that this is going to be another office to you in a couple of days. It's just going to be another office. And while it never got old, I'm not suggesting that the intensity of it, you started to forget about the trappings of it. Does that make sense? When you're boarding Air Force One,
right,
you see the majesty of it and you're in love with it, but then
see the Roosevelt room, the blue room, and things like that.
And the flip side is you're like, okay, I got to go do a meeting and I'm going to be in the Roosevelt room. I'm going to do a conference call in the Roosevelt room. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
or I'm standing at the White House press box where presidents have stood,
right,
and I'm taking questions from the press. So to me, yes, I don't want to take away any of the majesty of it, and it'll never get old for me. And I love my country, and I'll always be in awe of it. But I will tell you what happens in any place that you ever are. You got to do the work. And once you start doing the work, you're in the throes of it, Yeah.
So,
and of course, then I got my ass fired. And then
that was a heck of 12 days. So 11. Sorry.
I love the fact that you're trying to give me extra days. I always use extra days.
I say
10, that hurts my feelings. You know what I mean?
So, but I mean, I know you don't have a ton of time to spend with us, but you've had everyone's had an intense 18 months, but you've had an intense more than 18 months. And I'm sure building your business to what you built it to every single day leading up to all that was intense, right? Mm-hmm. The last year and a half has been a little different with intensity. So what are you doing to just chill out? I mean, I see guitars, I see comic books and Ali in the background. Like, what do you do to like decompress and just go chill? Is it hang out in the Hamptons and just look at the beautiful water and play some
smoke? I'm smoke a little bit?
No, I don't know. But I'm sure at least one of my kids is like smoking a fucking plantation of pot. I just like to get it down to an acre. But I don't smoke. I rarely drink. It's not for me. Okay, I'm doing what I love. I am a reader. I wrote this book recently, The Sweet Life with Bitcoin, available on Amazon. And by the way, it's an international bestseller. And if you don't believe me, I could take you into the warehouse over here where I bought every one of them. Right? I don't think anyone ever bought one of my books, but I write, I do podcasts, I go on lecture tours. I spoke by Zoom in Australia last night. I'll be in the Middle East this coming week.
Wow.
And I have to leave shortly because I have to go get a COVID test related to that.
Right.
And, what I would say to you guys is I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. David Rubenstein is a friend of mine. He used to be the CEO of Carlisle. He's now retired. I visited him on the island of Nantucket a few years back, and he had this beautiful house on the bluff. And I walked up to the front door of the house to ring the bell, and there was a sign on the house that said, "Rather be working." And I laughed because here it is, this beautiful multi-million-dollar house on the bluff overlooking the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
But this guy's letting you know, hey, man, I like working.
Yeah.
And I like working. I like being here. I like collaborating with this team. I like seeing if I can help my employees scale their lives and make them more money and give them more professional growth. And I like doing that for myself,
Right.
and I accidentally got into the politics because remember, I didn't have a network. I grew up in a blue collar neighborhood. So my entree into the very wealthy was through the political scene.
Right.
I was writing checks for Rudolph Giuliani in 1989 when he lost that election. I wrote him a $250 check,
Yep.
But I liked Rudy back then. He's gotten crazy today, but the point being is that that opened the door for me. I made too big of a leap from entrepreneurship into the political spotlight, which was ill suited for me,
Right.
and I have to own that. That's a lesson for your listeners and for your viewers. Don't let your pride and ego get in the way of the decision making. Don't do that to yourself, because when it happens and my wife hated Donald Trump almost as much as Melania hates him. I mean, and that's like way up there, and she told me not to do it,
Yeah.
and I
did.
and
Wow.
I didn't listen, and that's my pride. That's my ego. That's me saying, oh, I'm a blue collar kid. I built a couple of successful businesses. I went to Tufts and Harvard Law School. I'm going to go work for the American president.
Yeah.
But he's a nut job. You know what? I'm going to choose to override that because I want it to fit my narrative. Does that
Totally.
make sense to you guys?
100%.
And
Absolutely.
I have to own that, and I'll own that for the rest of my life. But I also like talking about it because there's someone listening to your podcast, and I would rather them learn that from me than have to go through the torturous situation that I went through in 2017.
Yeah.
It's fun to talk about now, but let me tell you, when I was getting fired and lit up by the press and pilloried on the late night comedy and rolled in broken glass, it
Oh,
wasn't.
you were great material for a lot of people.
It wasn't. Yeah, of course. But it wasn't easy.
Right.
I mean, I want to just kind of swing this a little bit. Let's get out of this. But we talked, you like to work. You're regularly Iacocca here. But what about food, Anthony? You're an Italian American.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about on a Sunday here? What's on the buffet at the Scaramucci house?
Well, I love everything, so I'm a carbohydrate addict, and I love everything. But I would say to you that my family of origin, it was pasta and meatballs 1 p.m. Sunday.
Yep.
1
Same.
p.m.
And I would say my current family, it's 5:30 at the local restaurant Sunday. You know what I mean? And
Did you miss anything?
no, I mean,
Is there home cooking that you miss?
No, the point being is my wife is a great home cook, but Sundays are now probably eat out day, and probably the week is probably cooking in. But for me, I love everything. And when I go to Rayo's uptown, in East Harlem, and I don't have a table there, but sometimes my friends will lend me one of their tables. I have to tell you, I feel like I'm in my Nana's kitchen. It smells the same, it tastes the same. And it's a great thing to do. And so I love food. I'm obviously could always drop a few pounds, but the flip side of it is, you're Italian. Remember this, okay? I'll leave you guys with this one thought from Mel Brooks. Relax. None of us are getting out of here alive. That's the truth, right?
It's
We
100%
got to enjoy
the
it.
truth.
And my man, John, listen to
Yes.
me. Live your true self, my man. If you get one thing from me, right or wrong, I'm living my true self. I own my bullshit. I am who I am. I don't try to be somebody that I'm not. And I get the pressure on you. Trust me. I have a lot of empathy for the pressure on you. But I'm reaching out to you to tell you, live your true self, because if you live your true self, you're going to be infinitely happier, just like that kid behind me who walked on stage here. And he's a very close personal friend of my son's. And I love that kid to death. He's the hardest working guy I know. And he's happily engaged to his boyfriend. And he's living his true life the way he was designed. You know, I didn't choose my sexuality. I have an outdoor plumbing fixture. I like indoor plumbing, but I didn't fucking choose that. Okay. You know, I could have ended up liking outdoor plumbing. Who the hell knows? You know,
I haven't heard that one, but that's good.
You know,
I
but
like
you know,
that.
but that's me. I don't think anybody should judge me for that proclivity. That's part of my biological design, you know, any more than anybody should judge anybody else for their proclivities. Anyway, you don't need to hear that shit from me, but I'm saying it to you.
Appreciate it.
And I'm saying it to you out of a lot of love.
Thank you.
I'm saying
Anthony.
it to you with a lot of compassion for you. All
I
right.
appreciate it, my friend. Thank
All
you
right,
so
guys.
much.
You guys be
Thanks.
well.
Thanks,
All
Anthony.
right.
You
Hopefully
too.
we'll do this again.
Yeah, for
Sounds
sure.
good.
All right. God bless.
brother.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Safe trip.